Namaskar and very good afternoon to all viewers. I, Dr. Renu Tomar, welcome you to the series of lecture on distance education in India. Friends, you are viewing me with the help of Gurukul lectures. So friends, if you remember in my previous lecture, I have talked about that how distance education came into being. Friends, distance education really had a very humble beginning. This is something which we have studied in our first lecture. It had a prospective aim. The prospective aim was to make education available to the students who cannot have education in the four walls. So, this was a kind of an education which was to be made available to the students beyond the four walls. This was the prospective aim. With this prospective aim, it began in non-traditional note. So, the basic intention was to close the social gap, particularly in the higher education, and this is something which exists even present, because it is usually seen that the students who cannot go to the regular universities, they are being benefited by the distance education universities or the distance education part of the university in a very special way. They are improving their education despite the fact that they are not so lucky or not so influential that they can have the regular education. Of course, in the initial years of emergence, the distance education was marked with a tag of heroism, in a way that it was heroic to go for distance education. Similarly, it was also given a very bad name. It was criticized for education for idiots, because it was accepted and acknowledged that usually the students who are going for distance education are who are not capable or who lag behind as far as academic understanding is concerned or the intellectual level is concerned, because the students are very poor at studies or they are not good at studies. That is why they have to go for distance education. This was a belief initially which was associated with the distance education. However, with the passage of time, all of us know that the distance education has benefited the students in a very crucial manner, in a very proper manner, and it has earned its fair share of name and reputation also. In the words of Fred Jerson, we can say that it is a bewildering nomenclature as far as students are concerned or the working people are concerned, because the working people are benefiting by improving their education due to distance education. Similarly, the students are benefiting by staying at home also. So, it is something, the distance education presently is something has become a very remarkable and important part of higher education as well as school education. Now, it is being looked up as e-learning or virtual university, because the technology is playing such an important role whenever we talk about distance education or open education. The students are benefiting from the distance education in more strong manner than they are benefiting from the regular education. And because of the online access of the learning resources anywhere and anytime, it has gained a good name as far as the distance education is concerned, and the technology is becoming more and more important. In fact, the distance education nowadays is recognized for making education borderless. It has been criticized because it is being accepted or acknowledged for creating digital divide, because it is being said that the distance education is now being more available to the students who are digitally more productive. Why? Because the students who cannot access to the television as you people are doing right now, they wouldn't be able to benefit from the distance education. Similarly, the students who doesn't have radios at home or who doesn't have computers at home or who doesn't have internet service at their home or even at phone, then naturally the student will not be able to benefit. So that means that the student who doesn't have access to digitization or IT, he or she will not be able to benefit from the distance education, because technology is being profusely used as far as distance education is concerned, and that is the only way to increase its reach as well as to improve its quality, and also to correlate it with the mainstream, because only technology will be able to provide the education of the same level which the regular education is providing. So, with this we can understand that why distance education has often been called as something which is dividing digitally dividing the community or society or the country. But we will have to accept the fact that digital education has made a very long journey from postal courses to the digital era of virtual classroom, virtual university or video conferencing, and it has done it should be given the benefit for the fact that it has really done very well. In fact, we do find lot of problem with the higher education, but when we talk about the distance education, we find it has improved in the due course. It was the University of London in 1858 which allowed the students for the first time who could not attend the formal college to sit for the exam and get degrees under the external system. So, if we have a view of the world education, we would say that the distance education was started for the first time by the University of London in 1858, because beyond the formal colleges, the students were allowed to sit in the exam and get the degrees as the external students or as the external system. So, this system was created, this system we can say it is a distance education, and as we have already discussed in our previous lecture that the distance education in India can be traced back to the time of Eklavya. I have already narrated the story of Eklavya, and this is the story which is known to all of us, and how Eklavya learnt in from the idol of Guru Dronacharya, and he became a better archer than anybody in the history. So, distance education existed in India way back from the story of Eklavya. This is something which we have concluded. So, what does distance education mean? The whole principle on which distance education rests is depicted in this story. That means the distance education mode would mean that we would be learning by not being directly in touch with the Guru, just as the Eklavya was able to learn by just practicing in absence of the teacher also. So, this is something which we understand that despite the absence of a teacher, the learner acquired a skill because of his hard work, dedication and perseverance. So, this is the principle on which distance education rests, and this is the principle which is depicted in the story of Eklavya also. So, learning through distance mode is not unknown in Indian history. As far as the private appearances is concerned in the higher education, this is system which existed before also and was replaced later by the correspondence education. Why correspondence education was introduced in India is explained by Shri K. L. Shrimali, that is the education minister at that time. He said that correspondence education will provide a less expensive and yet an efficient system of education in the context of national development in India, and it will also offer educational opportunities to the less fortunate. Correspondence education also aimed at offering educated Indians academic path for improving. Alternative education was the top priority of the government during the onset of 5-year plans. So, first 5-year plan which was made keeping in view the higher education, on that point the correspondence education was introduced. Radio talks were being offered by the universities across the country, so that the students may take the private education, private examination and be benefited of the education system, even if they are not able to attend the education system formally. So, the correspondence education has played an important role in education, particularly in the higher education of the deprived group. When we talk about deprived group, the deprived group means the women students, the SC/ST students, and the students other who are not able to benefit from the higher education because of their socio-economic problems or socio-economic factors. So, distance education has made a very positive impact, and it has emerged as a unique system of education that has provided the hope to those who couldn't even dream. In third year plan, that is 1960 to 65, higher education was something which was being looked up by all the policy framers, and all the traditional universities were failing to address the demand of the higher education. And the result was that because of the stagnant economy and the high demand of the higher education, the distance education was introduced, and a plan was proposed for awarding of external degrees for the students pursuing private studies or the correspondence studies. With this view, a expert committee was initiated under the leadership of Dr. R.S. Kothari. In that, in those recommendations, there was detailed analysis as far as the distance education in higher education is concerned. Correspondence leading to degree or equivalent qualification should be administered by the universities only. This was the main agenda which was introduced by this committee, expert committee headed by Dr. R.S. Kothari, that the universities should administer the correspondence and they should be providing the equivalent qualification. This means that all the universities shall be providing correspondence courses, but those correspondence courses initially were to be confined to first university degree, that is UG. Then of course, later on that was taken up at the PG level also, even at the professional level also, because all of us know that how the B.Ed in distance education was being provided initially by quite many universities, and many students benefited. They understood what teaching learning procedure is concerned. They got a B.Ed degree by just attending to the learning methodology or the teaching learning procedures, which were very much important or which couldn't be taken away from the education of teacher education, that is the teaching practice as well as giving the presentation. They were kept in mind, and for that a certain number of classes were arranged for the B.Ed students, but apart from those tutorials there were no other contact classes. So, with minimum possible contact classes, even the professional degrees were being awarded on the basis of less personal contact between the teacher and the student, because in this education it was expected and accepted that during this education the student will be benefited by more from the instructional material, that is teaching learning material, than from the teacher, and the teacher would be guiding him or her only on those issues where the teaching learning material may have left gaps, or just to address the teaching learning material in such a way that the student understand that how that teaching learning material is going to benefit them in the practice in the classroom as well. So, whenever we talk about distance education, we have to understand that distance education would always mean that the course and the textbooks preparation is a top ranking phenomena, and for this usually made with the university, made with the NIOS, they hire or they take help from the scholars who are very learned and who understand the education system very well, and they understand that how that education system should be reaching the student. So, such kind of arrangement is center to any distance education organization, because that is the only way to ensure continuing improvement in the quality of the work. Correspondence method was susceptible both in science and humanities. However, for the present, in the view of the organizational difficulties, the committee, that is Kothari Commission, recommended that the course should be started only in the faculties of arts and commerce. Science was to be incorporated later, but friends, as we can say that now presently the science education is also available to the students in the distance mode, because the arts has been successful, the commerce has been successful, and the science has also shown the positive results, that it is not so that the correspondence method is inappropriate as far as the science education is concerned. This was the some thinking which has been taken up initially with some reservation, but later on we found that this reservation was susceptible, and thereby the students can go to the extent of having a regular degree even in a science. Of course, the tenure of the degree may increase. So, but the student will be benefiting from the degree equally as any regular mode student is going to benefit. So, this kind of flexibility was something which was introduced in Kothari Commission also, and whenever the Kothari Committee said that the degree would be available to the students either in a 3 years or for the 4 years. For the outstanding students, they might be able to compress it for the 3 years, but otherwise the degree would be given to the students after 4 years. So, this flexibility was introduced in the Kothari Committee also, and as far as the fee is concerned, it was also addressed in the Kothari Committee that fees for the students applying for those courses should be reasonable, and it should be high in the first year, but should be progressively lower in the second and third year. Perhaps this was because of the fact that usually the students who are coming for the distance education, they are working and they join distance education with the point of view that they want to be benefited from the education and also keep working. So, in the first year only those students should come who are really keen at getting educated. Secondly, perhaps it was also introduced keeping in view the fact that the students, if they will come in the first year after paying handsome amount, this will ensure that the student is ready to study, and if the fee is decreased later on, then naturally the student is benefiting. So, that is at the center rather than the fee. Secondly, it is also expected that the student, when he or she is studying, then he or she is focusing more on the education, and the may be resulting in the lower income. So, because of the lesser income, the student should not be forced to give up the distance education. So, perhaps these were the two ideas which were at the back of the mind when the Kothari Committee introduced higher fee in the first year, and then progressively lowering it in the second and third year, and almost nullifying it in the fourth year. Of course, supplementary was also added by the Kothari Committee, which said that the supplementary aids, that is the radio and TV, were recommended, and they were to be standardized as per the spoken language of the student. That is, in Karnataka, the local language would be spoken on the radio and TV for the students. In Haryana, Hindi will be used. In Punjab, Punjabi will be used. So, the stress was, as far as Kothari Committee is concerned, when we talk about the language which is to be utilized by the student, is that the language should be the language which is spoken by the students. So, whenever we talk about the correspondence courses from the point of view of the Kothari Commission, the universities which were hired, first was the University of Delhi, and the subjects were included, as all of us know, that they were the humanities and the commerce group. Initially, all humanities group subjects were introduced in the University of Delhi when the correspondence education began, and even presently we would say that the University of Delhi's correspondence has the highest enrollment in comparison to any university, in fact even Delhi University. So, the regular student of the Delhi University would be, in comparison to the correspondence, would be only 30% or 40%. In fact, the ratio is so high as far as the correspondence is concerned. Why did Kothari committee introduced it? It was done the introducing of the universities, introducing the correspondence education. It was done so that it could remain economical, because the university already existed. University also had infrastructure. University also had teachers. So, it could easily cater to the students from all over the India. That is why, to be economical, these universities were introduced. Another feature or another aspect of the Kothari committee which was covered for the correspondence system was that the students have to be kept in mind, that is, adequate number of students have to be kept in mind, and we have to see to it that the expenditure should be taken care of under the correspondence system. How expenditure can be taken care of? By maintaining the numeric or the adequate number of students, because if the number of students are higher, then naturally the economically it will be viable option. Kothari Commission had also pointed out that it is a step, the correspondence education is a step which is designed to expand and equalize educational opportunity. Equalize educational opportunity for those who are not able to study through the regular mode. It had aimed at, the correspondence education had aimed at providing additional opportunities for thousands of students, for lakhs of students, those who were into the full-time employment. And because they were in the full-time employment, that was the reason which was not making them, not letting them join the regular college, and they were being benefited through the correspondence education being introduced in the different universities. Whenever we talk about distance education in India from the historic, we understand that the contact classes were taken up as tutorials, and this was something which was introduced in Kothari committee also, that there would be contact classes. Those contact classes would be in terms of tutorials, and usually those tutorials are kept on weekends. During weekends, students have more time, they can go and attend to those tutorials and be benefited by the teachers also. But the approach or the idea which at which the distance education or the correspondence education is centered is that the student is keen, interested, but because of his socio-economic problem, the student is unable to attend to the higher education. So, they are those students who are benefiting from the correspondence education through material, that is teaching learning material, which was postal initially, but which has reached the lakhs of students by utilizing the e-learning mode or the technology. What were the ways as to maintain the educational standards? When the Kothari committee looked into the ways of maintaining educational standards, they said that the top level scholars and the teachers will be involved in the preparation of courses and selection of textbooks. These were few of the ways which were being utilized, and this was something which was recommended by the committee, that the teachers can be taken from the Delhi University's faculties itself, Faculty of Arts and Commerce or Science can be taken up as to they can be utilized as to prepare the teaching learning material. As we have already done, that the flexibility was introduced and the fees was also accordingly arranged. So, friends, with this, let us try to understand that what distance education, correspondence education is presently. To understand what distance education is presently, we should simply say one word: MOOCs. MOOCs have played a tremendous, very important role as far as higher education is concerned. MOOCs, that is massive open online courses. These are something which is available to anyone and everyone, and this is free from the space and the time, and that there are multitude of students, lakhs of students who are benefiting by upgrading themselves through registering in MOOCs. MOOCs has worked as a game changer as far as the educational practices is concerned. There are agencies which are involved in preparation of MOOCs and providing opportunities to students to better themselves, to get the certificate, diploma and even degree through MOOCs, and the assessment is also being done by the well known organization like NTA is involved in assessment of MOOCs. So, other thing which is very important, the other aspect which will make us all understand what presently the distance education is SWAM. SWAM, as all of us know, just as MOOC, has also worked at proving the fact that distance education is something which is very important and which suits the present scenario. Why does it prove the present scenario? Because distance education is not only for those who are from the socio-economic background, poor socio-economic background, due to that they are not getting educated. In fact, the distance education is also for those who are employed and might be employed in a very gainful organization and who might be very educated also, but they want to learn more. And because they want to learn more for their personal or for their professional reason, they are becoming better employably as well as better person. And SWAM and MOOCs have played an important role in improving the education level of each and everyone. And this is not with respect to the social economic level of the student, but with respect to only educational level and the keenness of the student. What does it mean? It means that as a student, if I have certain level and I want to reach certain level which is higher than my present, then I would get myself registered in MOOC and get the help of SWAM and educate myself. So, what is SWAM? SWAM is designed as to achieve three cardinal principles, that is access, equity and quality. Just as MOOCs, that is massive open line courses, they are also addressing access, equity and quality. So, friends, SWAM is also trying to understand that how the pedagogical approach can be improving factor, because SWAM also aims at making anytime and anywhere learning, and that is why it uses all pedagogical approach of ODL, that is online learning. We can understand that education system in the world is changing very rapidly, and it has been proven in this COVID scenario has proven that the distance education is a key word. In fact, all the education system, may it be the distance or the regular education, meets now at one point, that is become technology friendly. Utilize the e-learning more and be technology friendly as a teacher, as a student. Utilize it to connect better, to reach better and to create an Indian higher education system in a much better manner. Because this is something all of us have understood, that technology is at the center of the education now. May it be the higher education, may it be at the school education. Of course, we can say that presently we are not utilizing technology so well, because we never thought that technology will become so important in the education. This was something beyond our imagination, but now because all of us have realized that technology is a game changer as far as the education is concerned, that is why NEP has also realized in its document that the choice based credit system and technology based learning should be at the center. NEP has also talked about making distance education universities more strengthen them. How they can be strengthened? They should be made more heterogeneous. IGNOU, which is a pioneer institution, should be made heterogeneous, it should be made multilingual, it should be made multicultural, and it should widely spread amongst the learner across in India. NEP has also worked upon the fact that how ICT, that is information and communication technology, needs to be explored more so that it can enhance the reach of the learner. Learners which are physically separated from the teachers, and the mobile phone, which has become a very important instrument now for the education, particularly for the students and the teacher. That is a handy tool, and that should be used in the best possible manner by all who are involved in the education, that is the policy framer, the curriculum framers, or the teachers who are the implementer, or the students who are studying. They should understand and learn how to use the technology and gear up the learning, which mode? Open and distance education mode. That is why NEP has explored not just efficacy of ICT, but also it has talked about that how teachers should also be improved by utilizing ICT. For example, if we take example of ECCE in NEP 2020, there has been reference that the teachers who are entering as in ECC, in early education of the student, they are usually 12th pass. If they want to improve themselves, they would be able to improve themselves by utilizing the IT mode, and the syllabus would be NCERT and all the organizations will be involved in working upon the syllabus of those students, and with minimum disruption of their current work, though they will be able to upgrade themselves and would be assessed again by some educational organization, maybe the NTA or any other organization. And these ECCE Anganwadi teachers will be mentored, and they would be improved upon, they would become better workers by utilizing ICT. So, this was one of the example which even has been quoted in NEP, that how the distance education is to be utilized for improvement of the people who are involved. So, the distance education is not just to work for SCDGS, that is socio-economic disadvantaged group. Socio-economic disadvantaged group means the women as well as the SC and STs, but also it has to work for the people who are involved in or working, who are involved in the education system to improve themselves, to upgrade themselves. So, NIOS and SIOS have been referred again and again in NEP 2020 as to make themselves enriched as far as the vocational education courses are concerned, as to work upon adult literacy and life enrichment program. In fact, they NIOS and state level programs have been introduced and discussed in great detail in NEP 2020 document. So, friends, with this I will take your leave and join you again on some other topic. For please grant me leave, and thanks a lot for being there. Namaskar and have a good day.